This is the Live Well and Thrive podcast, hosted by Michael Torsha, health and wellness expert. It's time to shape up, America.
Hi, it's Mike Torsha, and welcome to Live Well and Thrive. I have a very special guest, a very dear friend of mine, Alexander Nevsky. He came here many years ago, barely speaking. I mean, he's from Russia, so I couldn't really understand him too well, but he was with a manager that kind of interacted with us so it can kind of comprehend what he was saying, to comprehend what I'm saying. And we worked out the first time at Gold's Gym, and I got to tell you something. I'll never forget that workout. It was a wonderful time. We're going to go over that in the interview. But I got to say, he is incredibly talented. He's a champion kickboxer. He's won Miss Universe 3 times. He has so many movies out. His recent one is Rio Bravo, which you've got to see. It's a must-see. It's fantastic. He's just a force. He comes on the screen. He's got the presence of Arnold Schwarzenegger, but he has the clever lines of Clint Eastwood. So I guarantee when you see his movies, you're going to love it, and you're not going to want to walk away until the movie's over. So, Alexander, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Mike.
Such
Thank
a pleasure.
Great to see you. Thank
so
you.
You've been a busy man.
Yes, I am. For all these 25 years since I met you for the first time.
Yeah.
And let me tell to your audience, you guys should watch Mike's podcast all the time because he's exactly as same now as he was 25 years ago. He's full of not just of muscles and amazing definition and all of that. He's full of positivity. And that's what we had in common and figure out right away. Even, I didn't speak English much. You didn't speak Russian at all. But we stayed positive, right? And I was always open to everything what you tried to teach me. And to that day, I'm still doing cardio. And we'll talk about that, right? Not just muscles, not just fighting, cardio. I'm still thinking not much about my weight, but how I do look in a mirror. And it was you who told me about that. And it was long before I get back into the bodybuilding and won Miss Universe and all of that. But it was you who really taught me how to do it, American way. Because, in Europe, we want to get bigger. We don't think about definition much and all of that. When I saw you for the first time, remember, I was about like 320 pounds or something like that.
Massive.
Yeah. And you were very respectful and all that, but you told me, Alexander, and you always had to show and point to things, right? You said, Alexander, cardio, just do cardio. After, yes, we'll do all that exercises, but cardio. And you remember you did it with me.
Yes.
Just to motivate me. And, it was you, remember, who sent me to my very first audition to Battle Dome?
Yes.
Yes, and it was you who started to explain to me what SAG is. It wasn't SAG after yet. It was SAG at the moment, the Screen Actors Guild. And who is a real manager? Who is a fake manager? What is bullshit and what is the real thing and all of that. And, and 25 years later, now I'm, my English is a little bit better. And I became American citizen 5 years ago, which I'm very proud of. And also right now, as you mentioned, my 17th movie is out. It's called Taken from Rio Bravo. And another one is Gunfight at Rio Bravo. Gunfight at Rio Bravo is a Prime Video movie right now. So, and I produced 10 movies myself and acted in 17. So I just think, Mike, that it's very important to have someone like you in everyone's life. So you guys, you have a chance. So always watch Mike Torsha's podcast and listen what he say.
I appreciate all your kind words. I'm so proud of you when you post and the little clips of the behind scenes and the trailers. I just love seeing that because I remember your dream was to be like Arnold did, become this action hero. But you've come far more further than that because you are a really brilliant actor, producer, and I could see that you're a filmmaker. You're not just that action hero. You put together these wonderful movies. In fact, didn't you do a horror movie or doing a horror movie?
I produced a horror movie, yes.
Right.
I didn't act in it, I produced it. Night of the Caregiver. It's also Prime Video movie right now. But it's great you mentioned Arnold because Arnold, for all of us, and I remember your story, you moved to California to train with Arnold and all the champions of those golden era of bodybuilding. And me, And us, especially in the ex-Soviet Union, we didn't have an access to, to Pumping Iron movie or to even magazines. It was some pirated copies of something, whatever. But when I came here, and of course, full of stereotypes and full of dreams and all of that, I was very lucky because I met you and you explained to me a lot of things. And I met Ralph Muller, my idol Ralph Muller, who was always my idol because he was the tallest bodybuilder.
Yeah.
And I was very tall and skinny when I was a kid, and I knew about all the champions, American champions, but I always heard from all the sides like, you know what, you're too tall. You just cannot get big muscles. You just cannot because you're too tall. And when I figured out that Ralph is there, and he already won Mr. Universe in 1986 and became IFBB world champion, I just looked and I always, showed his photo to everyone and said, hey, this guy, look at him. And he's so huge and he's so tall. So I was lucky because I was introduced to Ralph, and Ralph liked me, and Ralph introduced me to Arnold in 2000. And the reason for those meetings also was I had a book from Michael Gorbachev, who was my friend. I mean, I'm proud that I knew him personally. And before my visit to LA, Mr. Gorbachev signed a book for Arnold. And I gave it to Arnold in Cafe Roma, not far from here. And Ralph was there, and he introduced us. And he was basically pushing me and telling me, like, ask Arnold something. Ask for his advice. And I asked Arnold about what should I do. And he looked at me and he said, first of all, you should think about producing. And I didn't start acting yet. And that's what he said. And he said, you shouldn't depend on anyone else's decision. You should do it yourself. And long story short, 17 years later, in 2017, also here in Beverly Hills, I had a private screening for Arnold of my biggest film, Maximum Impact, which was directed by Andrzej Bartkowiak, who directed Doom and Roma Must Die and Cradle to the Grave.
That was a great film.
Thank you very much. It was my biggest one. And I was so proud and so happy because I was there and Arnold was there and Ralph was there. And I reminded them about those days when Arnold told me that I should produce. And, today I'm reminding you those days in 1999 when we met and when we went to Golds, because it's very important. And I'm completely honest with your audience. It's very important to have people who really ready to help you with advice, to help you with some push. And it's just American dream is still alive. You still can achieve whatever you want to achieve, and I am like a live example of that. So for all those dreamers out there, they should push. They should never give up because it's all doable. They should just watch your podcast more.
Well, there was another reason for me wanting you to train at Golds, because I knew with your dynamic energy and personality and your powerful presence, people would gravitate towards you, because I wanted you to meet other people, the other bodybuilders and other people in the world. But of course you have to sort through the mess. There's gems there. But I knew being there would be a springboard for you to meet like Ralph and other people and Arnold in there and working out. Because when people see you in the gym, years ago, you're like family. We're all brothers and sisters. Today it's changed. But remember we first went there, everybody was there. Playmates and the biggest music people and the directors and managers and Calvin Klein and you name it. Everybody was there because it was just a place where it's like Switzerland. Everybody gets along. Everybody unites, but we're a family. Now, of course, the gym has changed. People are on the phone and they don't want to work in with you. I have 3 more sets yet. They don't understand gym etiquette, which is terrible. But I knew that day when you came there, you would meet other people. That was what I wanted to do. And you did a great job.
And you did it for me. And it was you who told me to never be shy to ask for advice. And you know me a long time. I'm always respectful to people, to my idols, and always. But I was always asking for advice. You remember I was bothering you with my broken English at the time.
I was
all the
never
time.
bother.
But funny thing happens because remember when you sent me to the those very first audition? It was Battle Dome, which was
Yeah.
at the time kind of like American Gladiators.
Yeah.
All bodybuilders wanted to go, and you sent me, and I didn't even have. I think I had student visa at the time because I was at the UCLA. But you told me, Alexander, don't worry. If they pick you up, they will take care of your visa. They will take care of Screen Actors Guild. Don't worry, just go. And I remember when I was there, it was like open call or whatever. And I think you told me that you should just get like black T-shirt and some blue jeans and just show your muscles and all that. So when I stepped out of the car, it was about 400 people, black T-shirts. I mean, someone smaller, someone bigger, someone shorter, someone taller, blonde, pretty, ugly, whatever. I mean, you name it, all kind of people. I remember when I was back in Russia, it was the biggest thing you can see,
Yeah.
and over there, yeah, maybe, I mean, someone maybe had smaller biceps than me, but someone had a bigger one, and it was amazing, and it was 400 people. And I never thought I will get through, but they picked me up for the second call, and second time it was already 40 people probably. After that it was another call back. It was just 10 of us. After that it was like physical test, whatever, and it just 5 of us suddenly. And what happened is, and you probably forgot, but I will remind you that they even sent me a contract, and that contract through fax. Remember,
Right, yeah,
it was fax machines
Everything's
back then.
fax, yeah.
Fax. It was like Columbia TriStar Television and Alexander Nevsky, agreement, whatever. And I thought, you know what? Finally, I got it. I'm here just for whatever, for less than a year, and I got my own TV show with Columbia TriStar. But when I started to read more, of course, first of all, it was like peanuts. It's no money, of course, and I didn't know that. Not really an insurance, and this is a contact thing. So and all of that. But the most important thing for me was they never talk about the character who they wanted me to play. And when I asked casting director sent me like 5 sentences, right? And there should be just one more meeting with producers. And before this meeting with producers, you have to sign. You have to sign before you get into the door.
Right.
And when they sent me those description for my character, it was like stupid Russian stereotypical, big idiot with some red star on his ass or something like that. And they didn't want to offend me. That's how they think about Russian wrestlers or Russian fighters, whatever. And I remember I called back to the casting office and I said, you know what? I cannot play that. Can you imagine? Poor woman. I mean, she was dealing with me like for 3 months. Now they expecting me to show me to the producers, because I think the deal was they needed like 5. It was the second season, and they need like 5 or 6 new fighters. One from Russia, one from from Asia, another one from Africa. That's how they tried to organize it. And I said, I cannot do it. And to that day, I think that the fact that I always, had this integrity, if you like. I didn't want to betray my audience, and I didn't want to betray myself. And that's why I started to produce movies with Russian and Americans fighting together, not against each other.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, and you know what's going on now, unfortunately, and it's just terrible. But back then, I think, all my movies, they were about friendship. And in the end of the day, no one needs World War III, Mike. No one needs that, and I just hope that, politicians will figure it out. And again, back then, I never played stereotypical bad Russians. And even in my movies now, you saw Rio Bravo, you saw Gunfight at Rio Bravo. I'm playing like a real guy. There was a real guy who immigrated from Russia to America, who was John Basil Turchin. And he became a hero in the Civil War. Abraham Lincoln made him brigadier general, and he kind of disappeared after the war. So I'm playing him. What would happen to him? So I'm still playing Russian heroes. And again, going back to Hollywood and going back to first steps, it's just very important to do it right. It's just very important to have, you know, nice and kind people by your side. So thank you very much again.
Ah, you're welcome.
Thank you
You
very
know,
much again.
it really touches my heart for you to share these thoughts and your experience because I was concerned about the Battle Dome because people were getting badly hurt. And the last thing you need to do is get some kind of significant injury, and then your whole career could die. And Dan Clark was on. He was Nitro in American Gladiator a few months ago.
Mm,
And, excuse me, he sustained a lot of injuries that have plagued him his whole life. And many of the other American Gladiators, Battle Dome players have sustained injuries that were permanent. So you made the right choice.
and again, I did it not because I was too smart, but also because I had you by my side who advised. Yes. And I saw those podcasts you just mentioned with American Gladiator, and I also saw him in a documentary. It was an interesting documentary on Netflix
Yeah.
about them. And I even made a movie. One of my earliest movies, Red Serpent, was with the guy who was Malibu.
Oh,
Malibu.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, those guys, I mean, big and strong. So I just think that muscles muscles are great, but you have to have a strategy. You have to understand what you will do today, what you will do tomorrow. And if your target is to be in movies, you really should understand movie business, how it really works. Because again, people in Europe and all around the world, they do have stereotypes about Hollywood. But people in America, unfortunately, they also had them. It's important to be a realist, an optimist, but also a realist. It's correct, right? A realist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I love the fact that you stood up for yourself and you didn't want to be stereotyped as this dumb thug from Russia because you have to build your brand, and that wouldn't be right for your brand because you're an intelligent man, you're articulate, you're driven, and just to be like this person that's going to just terrorize people isn't what you're about. Your movie, your recent movie, which I saw the trailer, it's just really your acting skills, the fight scenes. You're great with a gun,
Thank
the
you.
6-shooter,
Thank you.
and riding horses. I mean,
Thank
you trained for the horse
I did.
riding too,
I did.
right?
I did.
And the guns.
I did.
You were fantastic.
Thank you.
I mean, you're fast. You just knew how to carry the whole movie where your dynamic energy was just so powerful. That's why I'm saying you have that powerful energy like Arnold does. Remember when he did the Terminator,
Thank you.
Commando? You have that same presence, but you've evolved into a very skilled actor and producer. And I know you handpick your projects, and you're able to put it together at a very modest budget, which is beautiful and fast turnaround.
And that's another important thing. And thank you very much for all your good words. And I'm so proud and I'm so happy that you were there and you're still here, watching it all. And you were there from the beginning. And I remember you were there at Showdown in Manila premiere in Beverly Hills, watching those movies, my version of Expendables. Remember, I got them all. Casper Van Dien, Kerry Tagawa, Tia Carrera, Don Dragon Wilson, Cynthia Rothrick, Olivier Gruner, all those people I love. And you were there. You were there in an audience, and you hugged me after the screening. You're absolutely right, Mike. It doesn't matter if you're making a movie for $500,000 or for $10 million. You have to understand the business, and you have to have it under control. And of course, back then, in theory, of course, I wanted to be on American television. And I was a good sportsman. It was interesting to me just to push other guys on TV. I mean, I was 27 years old. I wanted to do it. It just, I knew it will not be step forward. It will not be. A little later, I had another, bad situation when Jack Gilardi, late great Jack Gilardi, who was vice president of ICM, he represented Jean-Claude Van Damme at the time, and he wanted me to be in Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, The Order, the one he did with Charlton Heston. And he introduced me to Van Damme. He introduced me to Sheldon Lettich. And he told me I should do it. And ICM will sign me. and I'll get SAG card, and I'll be in a movie with Van Damme. And it was still theatrical film. It was in 2001. Van Damme was still doing theatrical films. But I met with Sheldon Lettich, director, who also directed Double Impact and
Yeah,
a lot of
wow.
great movies. He wrote Rambo 3. And I remember I started to talk to Sheldon about my character. And of course, they want to do a favor for Jack, and they kind of created one of the characters for me. Again, some Eastern European guard who just trying to stop Jean-Claude's character from robbing the museum and fighting with him. I mean, it would be good, but I told them I cannot play things like that. It's just I'm not here to play things like that. And I said it in a very polite way because I knew they wanna help. They wanted to help me, and they invited me to the film. But to Sheldon Lettich's credit, he understood, and he looked at me and he said, "You have to do something which will put you on a spot, which will make you the star." And 10 years later, Sheldon was exec producer on my directorial debut, Black Rose, which was exclusive for 3 years on Netflix. Now it's also on Prime Video. And he produced it with me. He executive produced it with me. Kristana Loken was with me in a movie from Terminator 3, and Adrian Paul from Highlander. So my point is, again, you know all of that, and I know all of that now. But for all those guys who just, they train their muscles, they're going to the acting school, they're thinking about the career, they should understand the business. They should understand film business. And it's not only about the muscles and acting skills. They have to understand how to produce. They have to understand how money works. They have to understand what distribution is, right? It's just, but it's still fun. And I think the most important key is discipline and bodybuilding. That's real bodybuilding. That's the thing which will give you discipline and fun.
Yeah,
Right?
well, that's why I encourage kids to bodybuild, because it instills the skill set. Because you have to dedicate all your efforts to taking care of your body, eating healthy, getting plenty of rest, training proper form and technique and intensity. But if you take that skill set from bodybuilding and apply it towards acting or some kind of career, you'll be very successful because you're training the mind along with the body. And I like how you made choices, but you well thought out first. Does this add value or does this bring me backwards? Which it would have if you had pursued it. Because when the recent film you have now, I watched you, you're saving these people in this town, which puts a whole another level about what you are about. You're here to add value. You don't want to be some thug fighting with Van Damme and probably getting your butt kicked or whatever or killed. You're coming into this Western town and the women are being abused and people being killed and robbed or just totally denigrated. And you come in with this positive energy to help save and protect these people. We need no more action heroes like you that are not just beating people up, but setting an example how you should be more concerned about giving back, helping people, being a positive force. Because even though you're badass in the movie and shooting people, you're killing bad guys.
It's true.
You're not beating up on
It's true.
good guys. You're protecting the women, all the people
it's
in
true.
the town. So you keeping that motto and that attitude just keeps evolving you into an even better producer, actor, and even if do you plan to direct too?
I directed one film, Black Rose, and I wanted to direct again. It's just when you're directing and producing and acting and promoting and making sure money is there and making sure about 100 other things, it's not easy at all. And to be honest with you, I want to. I just don't know if it will happen. It will happen soon. But let me give one compliment to the great guy, Joe Cornette, who directed the film, who directed actually both of them, Gunfight at Rio Bravo and Taken from Rio Bravo. And those horror you mentioned, Night of the Caregiver. Joe is a great guy. He's a real cowboy. And he was the one who asked me to do Western. And I never even rode a horse. I never shot. I mean, I shot modern guns, but I never spin the gun,
didn't
or
six shoot,
I never
yeah.
did anything like that. And he believed in me, and he actually opened up that world for me. He even gave me his horse to train. The problem was Joe is a little bit smaller. I mean, he's like a regular size, great
So,
guy. So his horse, can you imagine? I mean, when his horse saw me, his horse wasn't happy. I wasn't happy because I didn't want to get on the horse.
probably look like a pony.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. But in the end of the day, I trained for like 3.5 months, and I look believable. I cannot tell you that I'm really skilled horseman now, but I look believable in the film. And horse always feels if you're scared or if
Yeah.
you know what to do, even a little bit, because it's horse is not a dog. I mean, it's a little
Yeah.
bit different,
Has a
different
mind of
beast.
its own.
Exactly.
It'll turn around and bite you if you piss it off.
Exactly. Or just go to the different direction, or will not go at all. It's just
Or if you're on a path that'll make you hit the tree with your leg.
yes,
So you gotta
or
watch.
with your head.
Yeah.
Yes, it's. I know what you're talking about. And same with guns,
Yeah.
because you have to look believable. You have to know how to shoot six shooters, right? Like those huge Colt, or have a
The Smith the Wesson. rifle,
exactly
yeah, yeah, yeah.
this one, and it's. But for me, I felt like a kid. It's amazing. It's like you playing cowboys and Indians
You
in
did
kindergarten.
look like you were having fun.
Exactly,
You know?
exactly.
You're making money and you're doing cool stuff.
Yes.
I mean, how could you not be
Yes,
happy?
yes. And Shout Factory, who released film in the United States, Gunfight at Rio Bravo, they did a great job. And Premier Entertainment, they sold it to 32 countries. And we did a sneaky thing, because when you're producing a Western, if we talk about producing now, in America, it's not that hard, especially if you're doing a good job with a film, it's not that hard to sell it. Internationally, they don't buy Westerns much because it's more kind of like American film.
Yeah.
But you saw what I did, because we had a Western, so we had enough stuff to sell it in the States. But in the end, like last 30 minutes of the film, I took my head off. I got my leather jacket, old school leather jacket. I started to kill bad guys. It looked like an action film. And that's how we sold it internationally, as an action film.
I love it.
So it's just, again, you have to be very creative, and not only as a bodybuilder or actor. You should be also creative as a producer, because you have to have your career under control. And I know for many people it sounds like unbelievable thing, but it's all possible.
So how do you find your projects?
I always know what I should do next, and I always trying to make my next project bigger compared to the previous one. Plus, I have to adjust to everything what's going on around me. And again, I love action genre, and of course, I want to continue to do like modern action movies. But in that environment, and I'm completely against the war. I'm completely against the war. So to do modern movies like nothing happened, I couldn't do it as well. So Westerns were great exit for me, if you wish, because I'm still playing Russian, and this Russian is he's an immigrant, and he is the hero of Civil War, and he's a good guy, and he works with Americans, and he protect people from bad guys and kill the bad guys left and right. So I'm trying to figure out what to do next. And those horror film you mentioned, it was also interesting. Now I'm just sad because I didn't act in it. I didn't act in it because I just didn't feel right about it. I mean, as an actor, I didn't know how will I fit into the horror film. But Joe, who directed it, acted in it and did a great job. Eric Roberts was in the movie, and also Eileen Dietz from Exorcist. She was in the movie. So just it was great experience. It's just now I'm doing another Western, and it's American-Japanese co-production, Mike. American-Japanese. We have sumo wrestlers in a movie. Yes, it will be first time
I love
sumo
that.
wrestlers will be in a Western, and it's also based on a real story about very first delegation from Japan who went to meet Theodore Roosevelt in 1906, and something happened with them on the way. And of course, there will be like nice gunslinger, with broken English, but it's a different story.
I like the combination of the sumo and Western. You've got a fun take to it,
Yes.
unique.
Yes.
And hey, that's how Clint Eastwood. He started out with all his westerns, then he became the badass cop and the detective and all that.
He's amazing.
But you have that same style as like Schwarzenegger and Clint Eastwood. You've kind of, picked up some of their style, but made it your own.
That's a great compliment. Thank you very much for that. Again, I was lucky because when I was a kid, everything was illegal in Soviet Union. Bodybuilding was illegal. Kickboxing was illegal. Hollywood movies were illegal. Everything was illegal. We couldn't watch it. We couldn't train muscles. We couldn't do it. We couldn't even name it bodybuilding. But because of Michael Gorbachev and Perestroika and everything what he did when he changed the country, suddenly we were able not just to, get some dumbbells and barbells and put Arnold's photo on the wall and all of that, but also they started to sell Hollywood films unpirated videos on every corner. Unpirated videos. And on one video, they would put two movies. And it was like two Clint Eastwood movies on one tape, or two Arnold's movies on one tape. And of course, I watched them all. I watched with bad translation, and some of them were, those copies which people shot from the screen.
Back, yeah.
Exactly. But for me, still, it was like an amazing window, to Hollywood. So when I came here and met you, of course, I already knew all those movies, and I was already a household name in Russia, so I knew what fame was. But I also knew that at the time in Russia we didn't have film business because Soviet Union collapsed, and those huge movie industry which Soviet Union had collapsed with it. So that was another reason why I came
You
to here.
mentioned a movie that Arnold did, Red something. Something.
Red Hit.
That's it.
Yeah,
You
he played Russian. He
Yeah.
played Russian, and I think it was one of the first films where Russian was portrayed not as a monster but as a hero.
Yeah.
And he didn't betray his country. He didn't. He was coming back to his country in the end, right? And that was great because it was also the end of those Cold War. That's why I'm continuing to talking about that. That's why we don't need those Cold Wars.
You particularly said, I want to make a movie like that, like Arnold did.
Exactly.
And you have, and you are continually. You have projected, you've manifested your future because you had this in your head, and nothing was going to stop you. And it's true, if you put it into your head and you put every effort into it, you can achieve whatever your dreams are.
You're absolutely right. And bodybuilding is a huge help with that because bodybuilding helped you to achieve a lot of things, not just in bodybuilding.
Yeah.
And you still look like a champion. And you
Thanks.
inspired so many people, but you also achieved everything else, what you wanted to achieve. Same with Arnold. He achieved everything in bodybuilding, and he achieved everything he wanted in Hollywood and in politics. Same thing with Ralph. Ralph became like a first German actor because Arnold is Austrian. And Ralph became the first German actor who got his own TV show on American TV. Conan was a great TV show.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing TV show. And Ralph was amazing in Gladiator
Oh,
and
yeah,
all those
Gladiator.
movies.
Wow.
And that's why those people, those other people, young people, they should have nice role models. And that's why I started our podcast today with saying thank you to you. Every time when I see Ralph, I say thanks to him. Every time I see Arnold, I'm like same kid from Soviet Union because Arnold is amazing and he inspired so many people, and he's still inspiring people. He's still in a great shape, doing exactly the same, promoting fitness. Going to Arnold Classic, making TV shows, making movies. It's just we should all bring more positivity into this world. That's why I'm so happy you're doing this podcast now for almost a year,
Yeah.
right? And you should continue. And other people, I just hope, especially in that strange time, Mike, strange time we're living. And it doesn't matter if we're in America or in Europe or whatever. There is a lot of bad things going on. It's just we should bring more positivity. We should be like that.
Well, thank you for that. And Arnold was the reason why I got into bodybuilding.
I remember you told me.
And when I first came out here, I met Arnold, and took me out to eat, and we went to the movies, and I realized what brothership is about. And they didn't care. I was that 15-year-old kid, chubby kid, not very strong, and I'd be with Arnold and Franco, and they'd come work with us, and they had all these 45s on there, and I had to take it off, and I was using the 25s, but then I got more powerful, and every summer I'd come back. It's like my summer school.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started competing, and then they'd help me get ready. And then I started getting very strong, where there was one point where Franco was blown away because he remembered when I first came out here. I was struggling with a 25 on each side with the Olympic bar. And then I did a triple with 505. And they were like, remember when you first came out here? But that's because he inspired me. Arnold was always my role model. And but everybody was so kind and respectful and wanting to help the young people, because Arnold would say, "You're the future of our bodybuilding. We're farmers, and we're growing crops, and you're the seeds, that are blossoming." So I'd come out here every summer, but Arnold taught me way more than just bodybuilding, philosophy about business, all the things. He was like, "What's going on with your world, Mike?" And then I talked, and he goes, "How about this?" Then I started working together with Heather, sending her patients for Arnold's girlfriend, the physical therapy, lead physical therapy. So I was giving back, because Heather's so dear to him. So I wanted to show my respect. And Ralph has always been a brother. He's a very kind soul.
Ralph is amazing.
And
yes.
That's what's so beautiful about goals. Even though it's not as many people in there that we're so loving and supportive, we still have that group that's loving, supportive, caring. I know Ralph admires your accomplishment. So does Arnold. I've brought you up, and he goes, he's great. He looks at you at great admiration, like you've been given the baton to continue on. Because now he knows the young people have to continue on, because that's why he did it. He knew that he was inspiring other people. Arnold enjoys helping people. You see how he is at goals in the morning. He embraces that. He'll take a selfie.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, let's do it,
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I knew that environment was perfect for you, especially a new person who came from another country, not knowing people, but I knew with your charismatic personality and your focus was just like, this is what I want to do. And you made it come true. That's why I called the show Live Well and Thrive.
Exactly.
It's not just about living, being a ripped bodybuilder. It's living a quality life and thriving, because you have such a fruitful life now. Is your girlfriend as a wife now? Where is it at? Where are you?
My girlfriend Tatiana, she's also in the movie Taken from Rio Bravo. She's also, playing female version of Bounty Hunter. She's very pretty, and actually in a trailer, it's her singing. And she's also a singer. Yeah, and it's just, of course, now in your studio in Beverly Hills, and talking about cardio now, on my way back, because it's just like 15 minutes for me to walk from here to my home, so I didn't even need a car. So I just walk back and forth, and it's an extra cardio, right? Because I remember what you taught me. If you don't have time to do cardio in the gym, do it during the day. Just walk. Just walk to the store, walk to the, groceries or whatever. You're absolutely right. I'm just enjoying it. It's a dream. It's all dream for 25 years. And thank you again for that.
You're welcome, brother. But it's so funny is, over the years, I've seen you walking around Long Pico, up Canyon.
Yes.
I just remember Villa Eloro.
Yes.
Canada was having lunch, and there you are.
And Grand Havana.
In Grand Havana. But you always move at a good pace, head up, sunshine, fresh air, and you're enjoying the community. You're seeing people, but you keep moving and burning the calories. So it's so fun that a big man like you is just like, and all my friends are like, wow, he's massive. He's such a great guy. They feel your energy, and then you just power walk away, And I love the fact that you do that. More people should walk.
Yes.
When I was in when I was training Matt Damon for the Born Identity, we spent about 7 months in Paris, and all I did was walk and walk and walk. Never did any cardio in the gym. And I got to tell you something. I was super lean the whole time. I did my weights, but I made my walking because I'd walk along the Champs-Élysées and I'd go to a cafe or I'd go to a museum. But I made sure I was moving probably close to an hour before I would stop. And I maintained my condition by just sightseeing, meeting people, looking around, being around the environment. So I tell people, like you said, if you can't do it in the gym or you don't want to do it, go for a walk.
Yes.
And if you're married or have a loved one, go for a walk after dinner, maybe an hour after you digest your food. Go for a nice, cool evening walk and talk and bond. It's nurturing. It's not just the cardio for the heart, which is a muscle. It's also great circulation. And maybe go walk with a friend and talk about life. And before you know it, an hour's by, you got it done. And it doesn't mean like, oh, I got to keep going. Sometimes it sucks when people do cardio because they're always looking at that screen. Oh, no, I got 20 more minutes. Oh, but when you go for a walk, you don't care. You lose track of time. So the fact you walked here is hysterical.
Exactly. Plus, if you walk this way for 30 minutes to go back home, at least it's another 30 minutes. It's an hour right there.
Yeah.
You know, you just have to. And you're absolutely right. You always should have fun. And actually, that's what Arnold told me as well back in 2000 when he spoke to me about producing. Another thing he told me, always have fun with what you're doing. And I'm trying to. And it's a huge fun. To be here with you, it's a huge fun. To walk around Beverly Hills, it's a huge fun. Be in Grand Havana room with one cigar a week. We all should have bad habits. I mean, come on, just a little bit. It's also a huge fun. It's all fun.
It is. You know, I always say in moderation. You know, we have to have our vices. You know, we have to have you want the French fries or you want something that's a treat. What's the journey all about? We don't know if we ever come back. There's no rain check. So if this is the only life we have a wonderful time. Enjoy that journey. And I know you do because I remember I've seen you with the burgers and the fries.
Yes, of course.
But you don't do it every day.
No, once a month.
There you go.
Once a month. Cigar once a week. Burger once a month. Yeah. But I'm a happiest guy. And six times a week I'm going to the gym. And it's the best time of my week. It's still best time of my week.
That's fantastic.
I love it. I just love it. And of course, when I go to Gold's, you're not often in Gold's right now, right?
Yeah.
But I go there just with Ralph, and it's a treat for me to go. And I just to train with him, and he's still in a great shape, and he's very strong. And it's just to train with him, I mean, it's dream come true. I remember when I was just watching on his photo on the wall. I remember that from Sport Review, from German magazine. Same with Arnold Schwarzenegger. When I have an ability to talk to Arnold, sometimes he calls Ralph on FaceTime, and Ralph just put it on me. He said, I'm happiest kid. And,
Arnold's so funny. He likes to write his emails on his iPad. And once in a while I get an email from him. And it's such a treat. It's out of the blue. Just to know he's thinking of me, Reflecting back to when I first met him, I was just this 15-year-old kid, chunky kid. And he's always maintained that respect for me and the fact that I was a dedicated bodybuilder and I did the best I can to achieve what I could with my physique. And then I decided to train people as a way of making money.
Inspire others.
And the podcast is to help people because I started watching all these bodybuilders and fitness people on YouTube talking crap, talking about shortcuts or trying to sell you a green drink. I said to myself, you know what? How about something that's real talk? Sitting around talking. We don't even plan what the conversation about. Let it organically happen. But let's make sure we share our stories so people can learn from our journey.
And be inspired.
And they're learning from yours. They're learning from mine. And that's what this show's all about. I'm not trying to sell crap. I'm trying to give back to what was given me through Arnold and other people. Just knowing you helped me grow as a person.
Thank you.
And I want to
Likewise.
thank you for
Thank
that.
you.
But I want you to come back on and talk about how everything's going, because you should come on, because you are such an inspiration. Your story is incredible, and this could give young man or a young woman direction on how maintain your integrity, because there's too many actors who go, well, I don't really want to play that character, but I need to work. Well, no, you don't need to work if it's going to be detrimental to your character and to you here. You know how a lot of actors, they want to just take a role. No,
Yeah.
even though you wanted to do it and you wanted to make the money, you said, you know what, I'll pass. I'm better than that. And that's the message that these viewers are going to take from that is, here's a man, barely spoke English, barely knew anybody, and look how many movies he's done. He's doing what he loves. He has a lovely woman in his life. He has great friends in his life. I want that too. Well, you pointed out step by step how you got there, and hopefully the audience is going to go, wow, I can do that too. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you very much for invitation, and thank you again for everything what you did to me and what you're doing for them. Thank you, Mike. Thank you.
My pleasure. So I want to say that if you have someone you truly care about, forward this episode. I guarantee it will inspire you and hopefully change your life for the better. Thanks for watching, and please share and subscribe on YouTube, because we need your support. The more followers we have, the more we can expand, more people will see this show. So thank you for watching.